This program is part of the Cosmic Potato Podcast Network. For more shows like this, visit our website at cosmicpotato.com.
All right, you primitive screwheads, listen up.
I am Iron Man. That's a big twink.
Pizza Dude's got 30 seconds.
You are a toy!
It's Leviosa, not Leviosa.
Why so serious?
The city's flying. We're fighting an army of robots. And I have a bow and arrow. None of this makes sense.
And welcome to World War G episode 210. I'm Troy.
I'm AJ.
I'm Colton.
Okay, so before we get into anything, we have a call. We have a message that somebody left us.
I wonder who it could be.
Who knows? It's such a mystery. So let's get to that, and then we'll talk about it. To the cat phone. You don't have to do that. I put in the sound effect.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Legit.
Hey guys, it's Joel, long-time listener, 42nd time caller. I just wanted to comment on the whole Bowser running Nintendo thing, and you guys were speculating on why the current CEO, or president, I guess, stepped down. And I really think, in my opinion, the reason they asked him to step down was someone said, hey guys, do you know that the next person in line is named Bowser for the presidentship? Oh, presidency? Oh, yeah, well, we got to get this guy to go. How much press that'll get us? Yeah, it's going to be amazing. So, maybe they just like, oh, the next guy's Bowser? Yeah, sorry, we got to let you go. This is just too amazing. So, oh, well, there you go. Discuss or don't. Have a good one.
So there's Joel's theory on the whole thing.
I think it's plausible.
For me, if a multi-million-dollar company is
Making decisions like that.
because it'll be a funny pun, that I don't know if that's a company I want to be associated with.
Well, it's not just a pun. Think of all the publicity that they've gotten because of it.
True, but even still, if that's what they're making their decisions on, who knows if this guy's even qualified?
Well, I'm sure, because he's been there for quite some time as well.
Yeah.
So there's no...
But it is an interesting theory.
Yeah.
But I think it was more coincidence than conspiracy.
It's coincidence interesting.
Want to try that again?
No.
Okay. Sound like you were drunk there for a second.
Who says I'm not?
All right. Well, fair enough.
He's like, that's the only way I can
It's
record.
all that Lucky Charms beer.
Which, by the way, I looked up to see if we could even find or get, and they've got it on tap there in like I forget the name of the place, but we were joking about it. It sounded like Narnia is what in this little podunk town is the only place that you can get it from.
Well, is a plane trip to that in the budget, Troy?
No.
Oh, dang it. Sorry.
You told me it was in Kentucky.
Yes.
Yeah.
Narnia, Kentucky or something.
Well, now we just need to talk to RoboCop.
Right?
See if he can help us out with that.
Narnia, Kentucky. Yeah, it's funny that's kind of become our thing now.
Mm-hmm.
Is people will actually find these things on some of our podcast sites. Like, hey, maybe you guys want to try this.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's kind of starting to be what we're known for, is trying weird things.
Oh, yeah.
Weird edibles. All right. So,
speaking of weird edibles.
Yes. I didn't mean to do that. Look at me. It's almost like I've been doing this for a while, huh? So, for those who may not know, Disneyland is putting in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, and it's this massive addition to the park. It's going to be huge.
Huge.
And it'll be there for a while until it gets run down, and then they'll throw something else in, which is kind of how
Disneyland works.
Kind of how, yeah.
Whatever's big, they'll just like...
It's how Disneyland does it.
Like, section
Mm-hmm.
for it.
So, they have a little cantina, or they're going to have a little cantina in there. And
It's just playing the same song on repeat.
yeah. And you can actually get a few beverages and some food there. Now, it's been the case that you cannot get, except in Club 33, you can't get any sort of alcoholic beverage in Disneyland.
Yeah.
Except at Club 33.
Oh, Disneyland. Okay.
Yeah.
California Adventure
California
you can.
Adventure you can.
But not Disneyland.
California Adventure, they're wild and crazy.
I know.
Whatever. Like,
It's like the Wild West over there.
right?
People just throwing their babies into the lakes and stuff. Crazy.
They're like doing a mass genocide on that side.
There's
sacrificing it to the, as they sing like it's a small world after all.
There's no restraints on the rides or anything over there.
The turkey legs don't come from turkeys.
That's right. The turkey legs is people.
Oh. What's the movie?
Soylent Green?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. So here's some of the things that they're going to offer over there at Galaxy's Edge in the park in Disneyland. So some of the food you're going to get, you got like the Cantina Mix. It's a galactic space version of bar snacks. Like small rice cracker bits, shrimp chips, and I believe freeze-dried chocolate. This is from Nerdist. Apparently this guy's kind of sampled some stuff, so that's what he's talking about. Get Oga's Obsession, which is a gelatin-based dish served in a petri dish with popping pearls, dried fruits, and pop rocks. And something called a Rhodian ration, whatever that is. Here's some non-alcoholic beverages you can get. You can get the Black Spire Brew, which is a coffee drink with cold brew. You can get the Blue Bantha, a glass of blue milk topped with a cookie decorated with a bantha horn.
Yum.
Sounds horrible.
You can get the Cliff Dweller. You can get a Tureen Tea, a Hyperdrive Punch It. See what they did there?
Oh, nice.
Puns are flowing over there. A Jabba Juice.
Don't want that.
No, I wouldn't want Jabba Juice.
Right?
Mugen Tea and a Carbon Freeze. That's the non-alcoholic stuff.
Okay.
Now, the alcoholic stuff, you can get a Fuzzy Tauntaun, which is a light Fuzzy Navel-inspired cocktail topped with fuzzy foam, quote-unquote. You can get a Bloody Rancor.
Bloody Mary.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
A Bloody Mary-esque morning drink with an edible bone garnish. A Yub Nub, essentially a rum punch with passion fruit seeds.
I was like, I don't know what the heck that is.
A Jedi Mind Trick. This has botanical flavors, grapefruit, bitterness, and is meant to start and finish in different ways. The Outer Rim, a margarita with a black salt rim. A T16 Skyhopper, a Dagobah Slug Slinger, a Jet Juice, Spirian Calf, Besbin Fizz, Bad Motivator IPA, Tawny Ray. It will be teal and bubbly, just like the Oleron version. White Wampa Ale, a wheat beer, and Spice Runner, a dark red cider. Let's see. So this is going to be Oga's Cantina in Black Spire Outpost. Will be the only place guests can get alcoholic beverages in Disneyland, except for Club 33, like I mentioned before. The beverages must be consumed inside Oga's, so you can't take them outside. So
as you're walking around, like carrying your drink, splashing on little children.
A few other things you can order at the Ronto Roasters. You can get a Ronto wrap.
What?
A wrap of roasted pork and some other stuff. A sweet teriyaki turkey jerky. Spicy herb turkey jerky. A sour sarlacc. Tatooine Sunset. A Mellow Run juice. There's also going to be like a milk stand. Cat's Saka's
What, just milks? Where they just sell just milk?
Like the blue milk and stuff.
Okay, I gotcha.
Cat Sokka's kettle. Looks like kettle corn, I believe. Yeah, they're gonna have all kinds of stuff, all kinds of food and
really
beverages.
Going all out on
Yeah,
this
looking
stuff.
at all this food, it looks delicious. The only thing that I'd say that they kind of have to do is keep the theme and kind of do like a role-playing thing inside these restaurants, because otherwise it's just going to be like going to a really overpriced cafe.
Yeah, you remember when, I don't know if you guys ever went to it, the Mayan.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. How they'd have like occasionally they'd have like cliff divers and
jumpers.
stuff.
Yeah.
They should do the same thing here, but occasionally like somebody gets shot
Yeah.
or somebody's arm gets cut off or something. Like you become part of the experience.
Just like every half an hour, they just repeat that same thing over and over. Like
They have the money to do it.
Oh yeah.
Right? They got that Disney money.
And the manpower.
Yeah. Like, oh, what's your job? I get shot once an hour, at work, kind of a deal.
My arm gets cut off by a Jedi.
And they're like, I don't believe you.
No, actually, if you work at Disneyland and if you're like in a costume, you can't tell anybody that's you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you're not. Like, plus you have to stay in character the entire time. There's like certain restrictions and stuff. I've heard like horror stories.
Me
There's,
too. I've heard that it's pretty cutthroat there too.
Yeah.
And if you follow the rules, you can be treated pretty well.
Okay.
If you don't,
because I think you can also
you're out
get,
on your butt.
Family like season tickets and all sorts of other there's quite a few other perks that they have. So,
but they take that crap seriously.
Very seriously.
Is there a specific costume or person or job that you'd like there if you were ever to go work at Disney?
Well, I mean, the thought is you want to be like a Mickey Mouse, but you are going to be so busy if you're in that costume. Well, you want to be in one of those costumes. That might be kind of fun, but be like a lesser known character, like a King Louie or something.
Okay.
Or a Baloo that's kind of tucked away.
Just kind of stays in the one.
Well, and like there's multiple Mickey Mouses. And there's multiple and the rule is they do not go anywhere near each other. And if you start encroaching on another
in the park, like at all, like they only have one out at a time.
Are you sure? I thought they were in multiple sections of the park, and they're just coordinated to stay away from each other.
I think perhaps like California Adventures and Disneyland, but as far as like the park itself,
but I'd probably be Gaston or something. I don't even need the little puffy things inside my shirt either, because I'm so buff.
Well, you might need another foot or so. That's the only problem there.
The opposite effect of like Wolverine kind of a deal.
See, I wouldn't want to be what they call a face character, which is out of costume, because you have to be so happy all the time. You gotta.
You'd rather be sweating in one of those big head things,
because I could still like under my breath say I hate you people so much.
Whisper into the children's ears as you hug them. Go die in a hole. I hate you so much.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I don't know, like a Goofy or a Pluto or something would be kind of fun, because then you could be like pretty animated. You wouldn't have to be so stationary. I mean, you'd still get a lot of people like taking your photos all the time.
See, yeah, but I just wouldn't want to be one of the main people.
As long as they're air conditioned, right?
Yeah,
the heads.
Which I think they are.
Really, the whole suit.
Those suits are so like they have so much technology in there now. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, like fans and stuff, I think.
I'd want to be Princess Jasmine. Drop my midriff.
The one, actually, the person, like when we went last time, it was kind of funny. They had you know how Tinkerbell every single night goes up and like lights the castle, like hits the top of it. It was actually, they couldn't get like a girl to do that the last couple of times, so they had this one like really small Asian dude that was like playing it and just goes up there, and because fireworks are going off and they couldn't convince any of these girls to go up there and try it. I don't know if that's the case like anymore.
Well, it would be safe. I mean, They've done it, so they do it every night so many times.
They've done it hundreds of thousands of times.
Yeah, I'm sure they perfected the process. So maybe if you're scared of heights, that might be a problem. But
there we go. We'll get Colton to be Tinkerbell. Go up there.
I'd do it.
You have to shave your legs and everything.
That'd be the most gross Tinkerbell there is.
Wouldn't shave anything.
Just hits into the side of the has a couple of drinks that are like flying around. Oh, that'd be hilarious. Speaking of like a trip down memory lane, The Sandlot is being turned into a TV series with the original cast. And they're kind of like, throughout the whole article, they were comparing it to, did you ever watch the Karate Kid Cobra Kai spinoff that they did?
I think I caught an episode here or there.
Right, on, like, it was on the YouTube, their paid subscription that you could, like, purchase if you want to watch the other
YouTube Premium?
I don't know. I think it was a good movie at its time, and I think it's pretty cool that actually, like, one of our claim to fame is that a lot of it was filmed in Ogden. But at the same time, I don't know if I'll be watching or care all that much.
Yeah, I mean, if they film it here again, that might be kind of cool. Because, like, for those of you that have seen the Sandlot, when they go to the pool, that whole famous scene, that was filmed literally 3 minutes from where we are right now. Yeah. We could easily walk there.
Yeah, there's also that other scene where they're being chased by the dog, that they kind of like run down those stairs, and there's like a picnic bench and stuff. That's right off to the right on the parkway.
Yeah, there's, I mean, a bunch of that movie scattered all over Utah. Like stuff up there in Brigham City. There's some stuff down in Salt Lake, which is all supposed to be in this one town, but it's actually scattered over miles.
Oh, yeah. That's the magic of the movies. You know?
So, yeah, I mean, if they do film it here.
But the basic premise was they were playing baseball, their ball goes over the fence, they have to find a way to get it back, right?
Because it was signed by Babe Ruth.
Yeah. But I don't know what direction they would go with it, like with a grown-up cast.
I'm sure they'd have, like, the kids, you know, the original cast kids would be there. And
like more so have their children playing baseball?
That's probably what it is going to be. Yeah. But they have to stay true to what they said at the end of the Sandlot movie that happened with everyone's lives. Like, the one kid has to go into the major leagues and... Yeah.
Maybe like blew out his knee or something.
Yeah. Yeah. And then he's like a drunk, abusive dad or something.
It gets real dark. It gets real dark.
Get out there. Hit me a home run or you're not sleeping inside tonight.
Is abusive to his wife and kids and stuff.
He's just a mean, ornery drunk.
Yeah.
Speaking of bringing things back and putting them into a TV series, the Gremlins is going to be getting an animated, or not, is it? Yeah, an animated series.
Yep.
So basically, it's a prequel to the movies. It's Mr. Wing and Gizmo, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Mr. Wing and Gizmo and their adventures before he gets rid of Gizmo and all the other ones. Or no, it's just Gizmo, and then Gizmo replicates.
Correct.
But yeah, so I think that'd be pretty interesting. I like that it's animated.
Yes.
Because
then you do weigh a lot more.
Well, because if you don't do it animated, you have to have them animatronic and look like they did in the movie, and that's just not how technology is right now. Like, it would just look terrible.
It would look weird.
So I think animated is definitely the way to go.
But I didn't realize that there was so much more to the Gizmo story. Apparently,
right?
It's gonna be like Detective Pikachu.
He had all kinds of adventures before we knew him.
Well, we got to find out how Mr. Wing knew that you don't feed him after midnight and you don't get him wet.
That's true. Maybe
trial and error kind of a deal.
Which, if you break it down, the whole Gremlins rules really don't make any sense. Because what counts is don't feed him after midnight. All time is after midnight, technically.
Local time. The Gremlins know.
Oh, do they have like an internal?
They have an internal clock.
Internal clock, oh,
just like we do when we know to wake up.
Moved over. Where were they transported from? originally?
Probably China.
It looks like China.
Right?
Yeah.
So wouldn't they have been on China's midnight
It's
schedule?
a local time.
So apparently their bodies are...
They may be jet lagged.
They deal with time zones.
So maybe a couple days after coming from China, they have to like be really careful about everything.
Yeah.
Because, you know, they're jet lagged. Their mind doesn't really know what time it is, so they have to adjust to the new local time. Yeah. You just starve them for a few days. It's not that bad. People starve all the time.
Just starve your little pet for a few days. Get it back on a nice schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Get it back in your time zone.
So that it doesn't turn evil.
Well, yeah, and try to kill you.
I think
the whole
it's
thing,
worth it.
The whole thing about don't put them in sunlight. Well, guess what moonlight is?
Reflected sunlight.
Reflected sunlight.
Depending on who you ask.
Yeah.
Not depending on who you... That's what it is. It's reflected sunlight.
Yeah.
And the earth is flat.
Well, okay, so what's going to be the big bad villain in this series? Because
Probably the Gremlins, I would think.
the evil one. Okay, but you can only do that for like so long, right? Wouldn't you want some sort of like evil villain or somebody that's trying to like steal them?
Here's what I bet they do. I bet that the first few episodes are going to be Gizmo giving birth to all these gremlins is basically what he does.
Yeah.
Which is really gross if you think about it.
That's disgusting.
He gives birth off his back. It's a really disturbing scene in that movie, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, it looks like boils and bubbling and
it's really...
smoke and pus and stuff.
He's all shaking around, all in pain. It's really disturbing for a kid's show.
Right?
But I think what they're going to have to do, because it's going to be animated, you can't like kill the gremlins, but you have to like go capture them all.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that they end up escaping, and the journey is trying to find all these gremlins. You have to capture them.
So basically the premise of the Lilo and Stitch TV show.
Yes.
I like it.
Exactly.
Actually.
I bet that's what it's going to be. Matter of fact, I would almost bet money that's what this is going to be.
If we had any money to bet,
I know,
we would.
Right? Because there's nothing in the budget. we already went down that road. If there's no beer money, then there's no money for bets. Although I think that we could come up with some sort of like a, or at least like do a poll or something.
Could do like a $5 buy-in.
Yeah.
Send it to my Venmo.
All right. So, speaking of Disney, I guess, as we were before, the Disney villains are getting their own TV series. The Hollywood Reporter has brought word that Disney Plus streaming service has entered active development on a TV series adaptation of the acclaimed book series from Serena Valentino, giving the Disney villains the spotlight. I don't know if this is what's going to be, but they depict the Queen from Alice in Wonderland, Maleficent, Ursula, Cruella de Vil, and Captain Hook. So,
well, those are like kind of the big bads of Disney.
So anything to pad the schedule,
right? This one they did something kind of similar to it, didn't they? With like the House of Mouse.
They did. They did a whole I think
Villains.
Halloween episode where the villains took over.
Right.
And I think it was those villains actually.
But like they're not going to do it similar where like the majority of the time he was just like he'd introduce like a new cartoon and then like they'd play the cartoon and then go back. Where this is actually going to be a series like based off of them.
I guess I don't know if they're gonna like cross over.
Yeah.
Because they're in like different worlds and different universes and stuff. Well.
Oh man, there's a conspiracy that they're all like set in the same universe.
Well, because Captain Hook is in Neverland, but Peter Pan does take place on Earth for a minute. Then they go to Neverland, and then Ursula
it's just in the sea.
is in the sea.
Yeah.
Cruella de Vil is here, right? But then the evil queen...
Isn't she like in upstate New York or somewhere?
Yeah, something, I don't know. But the evil queen or the Queen of Hearts, she's in like some other weird dimension.
Down a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only one that you couldn't really do
Wonderland?
is...
Yeah, that's the one.
What, Hades, right?
Mm-hmm.
From like Hercules, you couldn't really do that one because that's set in a completely different time.
Well, and Maleficent is set in like medieval times.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Well, and Hades is immortal as well. He can't die.
True.
That is true.
So I guess...
So they could do a modern Hades.
I don't know, but we're thinking about this logically.
Yeah. Disney never does anything.
And they're,
logical.
First of all, it's animated.
It's animated.
Second
Cartoons.
of all, none of this is actually possible.
But things that are possible. KFC commissioned. This is 30 years after RoboCop's debut. They commissioned RoboCop as its newest colonel, and the guardian of the coveted secret recipe of 11 herbs and spices. Do you think they're like just say that it's got 11 herbs and spices and it's actually got a couple more?
No, it does. It has 11.
Like exactly, you can taste all of them. Like,
well, the way they do it, and I've done it actually deep dive on this because I was curious.
don't they they have two separate like plants that make half the recipe and bring them together?
Yeah, each individual KFC, for their chicken, they get part of the herbs and spices from one source, and then then the other half from another source, and then they have to combine them.
So that couldn't you just work at both plants eventually, or do they? I mean, have record of that?
I don't know.
Right?
Maybe. So there are people that say that they know what the herbs and spices are.
Well, let's be real. Does it really matter?
No.
There's fried chicken that's better than KFC.
Yeah.
So it's not like they have the perfect Krusty Krab formula or the Krabby Patty formula.
But they have been around the longest.
Booyah.
So, gotta be doing something right. But I love these RoboCop commercials.
Right.
For KFC. They are hilarious. You could probably find them online on YouTube. And I think if it's not the same guy in the suit, at least it's his voice. For sure. Because that'd be a hard voice to duplicate. But man, they are really funny.
And what's really kind of funny is they actually had him take the briefcase over to Europe to this bunker to store it that they claim can withstand a nuclear catastrophe kind of a deal. And I don't know, their own plant wasn't safe enough or something, or their own place that they had to take it elsewhere.
I don't know. I know that there is a recipe out there somewhere. There is. But it's under lock and key. It's like Coke.
Yeah.
There is a Coke recipe, but it's in a safe and under lock and key.
Are there any recipes that you'd really care to know? Or have to know?
I want to know Pepsi's recipe so I can make it myself.
The 23, Dr. Pepper? There are 23 different ingredients.
I mean, I'm not a big fan of Dr. Pepper, so it doesn't really matter to me.
So I don't know if you guys saw this earlier this week, but Kevin Smith Instagrammed a photo of him as Silent Bob next to Jay, pretty much wearing their exact same get-ups from every movie that they've been in together.
Skinny Silent Bob.
Yeah, he has lost a lot of weight.
Since that heart attack, yeah.
Well, and I think people have been like, yeah, he had a heart attack, but it must be something else that he's working on as well. And so he kind of confirmed that by posting, he said that in his tweet about it. He said people have been making some assumptions about his weight loss, and they're completely right. So basically what this movie is, it's like a reboot of a remake of a sequel. And it's supposed to be making fun of, because the second movie is the premise is Hollywood is making a movie about them, and they're going to Hollywood to put a stop to it.
Yeah.
And so this movie is Hollywood is rebooting that movie about them, so they're going to Hollywood to stop it.
Yeah.
And so it's literally the exact same movie, and they're kind of doing it as a way to make fun of reboots and sequels and remakes, which I think is freaking genius. One thing that's scary is how Jay looks. Like, he doesn't look anything like his younger self. Kevin Smith looks exactly like he did 20 years ago, but Jay looks like a scary old man.
Well, Jay's had some problems.
Some drug issues.
Yeah, that's what drugs will do to you. It'll age you up a little bit. Even though he's clean and sober now, but no, if you like me have been, listening to Kevin Smith podcasts and stuff, you know that this has been coming for a long time.
Yeah. But this is just a way for them to kind of confirm it.
Yeah, I mean, and I remember the podcast where he said that this is what he's working on.
Yeah.
Because he tried to get like a sequel to Mallrats off the ground. That didn't work.
Clerks?
Yeah, he tried to get Clerks 3 made. That didn't work. And yeah, so this is kind of been in development for a while.
I know he's supposed to, he's a guru and he's in the know on a lot of these things, but to me, he's kind of the live action Deadpool in my mind. I don't know. He just has so many different projects and he's just constantly out there, and I don't really care for his opinion.
Well, I get what you're saying, because people see him as this, the go-to geek, to ask all these things, and they ask him because he's so optimistic about everything,
right?
And he overhypes things up so much that he's good to get people excited about these type of things.
Yeah, or at least create a buzz. Mm-hmm.
And he's able to go off on a topic for an hour and a half easily. So they get a lot of content from him. And so I understand why people do that.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I mean, I'm with you. I mean, his opinion, he's got so much hyperbole behind it that, everything is always so awesome.
Right.
I mean, he talked up Batman versus Superman. He talked up Justice League. He talked up all these movies.
He didn't talk up Wonder Woman at all.
No, he did.
I know, I'm just kidding.
So yeah, but I don't know. I've never been a huge fan of his films.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'll listen to his podcasts, a few of them all the time, but as far as his films go, I'm like, nah.
And then also pulling kind of a Will Smith, to get Harley Quinn in these movies that nobody's seen.
Well, yeah, I mean his daughter.
Yeah. Daughter Harley Quinn.
Yeah, that failed miserably. And that's the other thing. He writes these films while he's high as balls on marijuana.
Yeah.
And so he's writing thinking, oh, this is hilarious because he's high. And then once you actually make him and sober people are seeing him, you're like, this doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
You're watching the movies wrong, Troy. You just got to light one up.
Maybe then it'd actually be
this is amazing,
entertaining.
Why haven't I not seen these before?
But I think that's why he's going back to the well of Jay and Silent Bob, because those are his characters that everybody loves.
Mm-hmm.
And so you got to kind of go back to what works.
He's pulling a smaller scale Disney. He's like, let's go back to our roots. What actually works?
Pretty much. And I mean, as far as the weight loss goes, he's talked about that, he doesn't want to be in danger of dying anymore.
Yeah.
And so that's why he's dropped so much weight. Because having a heart attack will do that to you.
Right. Kind of put things into perspective. Yeah. Be like, oh, wow.
I'm also glad to see that, he can basically grow the same type of facial hair as I can. Like, it'll follow your jawline, and then you get stuff down here.
Yeah,
the stuff
chin
up here.
strap, kind of a deal.
I unintentionally shaved my face that way this morning.
That's true, you did. Yeah.
I'm just not going to talk the rest of this podcast to really commit to the role.
You're a method actor.
Or you just want to fall asleep over there.
In the corner. Like, it's so warm and nice, and just take a blanket.
Okay, so you and I,
AJ,
yes,
went and took a little podcast field trip to the movies.
Yes,
and we went and watched Fighting with My Family. Now, it'll be interesting to get the perspective from each of us.
Well, that's what I was thinking, because I'm just like, I'm not a big fan of wrestling at all, and Troy, like, you know, this is his end all be all kind of a thing.
Not end all be all.
It is.
No, it's not.
Guys, stop mentally wrestling.
I'm on and off with it.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not like I have, you know,
he has posters.
Like, Troy literally has a belt hanging on the wall right there.
Yeah.
And actually, since the Royal Rumble, I haven't even watched a second of it. So,
well, your guilty pleasure that you keep going back to.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I keep going back to it. So, what?
Nothing.
All right.
It's
man, he's getting like he's ready for a fight.
Wrestling is your booty
call.
call.
Throw down?
Wrestling is Troy's booty call.
It is actually. Once I start missing it, I gotta.
Like, sends wrestling a text.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
You
it's
like
up? 2 a.m. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. So let's get your perspective on it first, as the non-wrestling fan.
Do we want to go over the premise at all as first, or?
Well, I guess we probably should. So basically, here's the plot. It's kind of it centers around this actual real life wrestler named Paige, who has She's known because she was the youngest to ever win the Women's Championship in WWE history. And she came up very quick in the company. And so this is kind of her story. You start with her back in England, and you kind of see her family, and
she comes from a wrestling family.
Yeah, they're massive wrestling fans. They started their own little independent wrestling company.
That's what they do. Their livelihood depends on them setting up wrestling matches, as well as them having like a wrestling clinic where they teach other like kids around the neighborhood like how to wrestle.
Yeah. And they have, her and her brother have kind of sent off audition tapes, basically, and they get a call one day from WWE, and they say that they're coming to England, and they want to meet with them. They want to see what they can do. Have basically an audition. And so they do, and she ends up getting picked to go to their little developmental
the minor league.
Yeah, basically they're minor leagues. NXT is what it's called. And her brother does not.
Which he, out of the two of them, is more of the diehard.
Yeah. Like
this is his one shot, his one opportunity kind of a deal.
He was the one that kind of brought her in the beginning.
And they even like mentioned that at the end of the film when they're talking about it, that she like just filled in for somebody one night and kind of liked it and decided, I'll give it a try. So it wasn't her passion like as much as it was his.
Yeah. And so it's kind of her journey. You kind of follow two stories. You kind of follow her and her journey in trying to get in to the business. Then you follow his journey, and he kind of
for a while.
He kind of goes into a downward spiral. So
yes,
What did you think about it overall?
Overall, I really I liked it. It was a little bit by the numbers as far as like sports feel good movies go.
Underdog story.
Underdog, yeah, exactly. Where she's not liked by anybody and she's like, wants to quit, and then she gets kind of a moment where it's just like that turning moment where it's just like the light switches and it's just like, no, I'm going to give my all and I'm going to succeed.
Yeah.
I would have wished that she actually, cause like even during the film, one of the things that they focused on is you have to win the crowd over. You have to get them on your side. Otherwise, you're not going to last that long in this industry.
Yeah.
Or you're not going to have like a good run at all. And to me, it really didn't feel like she had that moment, had a moment like that, because they even talk, they exchange banter, like people yell out cat calls and stuff, and she never really responds to them.
Cutting a promo, as it's called.
Yeah. Okay. But she really never had that she never had any type of rebuttal or anything at all, and it wasn't until the very last where she's just like, I'm here to stay, and this is for my family, and this is for the underdog, and this is. So that I thought was a little campy and corny. I would have wished that she actually got the crowd on her side. But the cameo, seriously, I'm not a huge Vince Vaughn fan at all, but he did a fantastic job with this movie.
He was really good.
Yeah. That and also The Rock. I thought it was just going to be a cameo kind of for just a minute, but he actually was in there for a good minute.
Yeah, he appeared in a few scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Overall, no, I really I enjoyed it. There's some pretty dang funny moments.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want me to give my what my review is, or
yeah?
Okay. What are we going out of? Out of 5?
5 championship belts.
Okay. I would say that I'm probably at a high 2.5.
Okay.
Yeah, a high 2.5. Mm-hmm.
For me, I guess I had a little bit of a different experience.
Yeah.
With this, because I could relate. When you showed them as kids and they were watching wrestling and they were doing holds on each other,
yeah,
that was me. When she was in a room and had posters of The Rock and Stone Cold, I'm like, yeah, I made her own championship belt. For a while, that was me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I totally understood that mindset and where she was coming from.
Yeah. And to actually get an opportunity like this,
mm-hmm.
You kind of put that into perspective as far as if you would have gotten this, kind of a deal.
I was never interested in ever joining, but
Okay.
I could understand where she was coming from, because I was just a bit obsessed with it as she was at the time.
Yeah.
And I also, had started to follow her career a little bit, in real time as it was happening.
Yeah.
Because I thought she was attractive.
Yeah. She's one of the few, the women wrestler, right? One of the few big named ones.
Well, at the time, no. She was kind of an unknown.
Okay. And
so she started to kind of make her mark. I'm like, oh, who's this chick? And so I started to kind of follow
with no
her.
last name.
Yeah. And kind of did research on her about who she was and that sort of thing. Because I kind of liked her look.
Mm-hmm.
And I've also been a huge fan of The Rock for close to 20 years now. Yeah. I've literally followed his career from the beginning.
I think you've seen every one of his movies as well.
Pretty close, yeah. And so I really like this movie. It hit me on many levels.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, I did look over at a moment when she was giving her speech there, and I'm pretty sure I saw a couple of tears.
I teared up a couple of times, yeah. I'll admit it.
She's like, it's the butter, it's the popcorn.
So yeah, it was very enjoyable to me. I think I'm at. You were at 2.5. I think I'm at 3.
Okay.
Myself. You don't have to be a wrestling fan to like this movie.
No,
obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it does help. Because I think you get more out of it because if you are or were at some time a wrestling fan, because you kind of get kind of the behind the scenes of it. You get behind the scenes of what it takes to become a professional wrestler. And it's not easy.
No, they are basically gymnasts and actors at the same time, all at the same time.
Yeah, they have to be world-class athletes. They have to be, like you said, they have to be an actor. They go through basically this boot camp. Mm-hmm. And so it was kind of interesting to see that part of the business. So there's that. Oh, yeah. I had a recommendation.
Yes.
A YouTube recommendation. I kind of gone down this rabbit hole, as you do on YouTube, of restoration videos.
You'll be watching 10 minutes or something, or just watch one thing, and then you see 4 or 5 other videos, and man, it's a slippery slope.
And the way I kind of came across is because I like to watch artist videos, drawing, that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. And one happened to appear, and it, because they recommend videos, and it was a restoration of an old, I think, antique butcher knife or something like that. You're really sticking to that Silent Bob. All right. I was
just listening intently.
No, it's fine. It was restoration of an old butcher knife or something like that. So I watched it and thought, well, this is actually kind of interesting.
I love those videos.
Yeah. Because there's no talking. Mm-hmm. It's showing them the process of what they do to clear off the rust and to shine up the metal. And
sometimes there's nice gentle music behind it, super relaxing to watch.
Yeah. And it's really fascinating.
Watching before falling asleep kind of a deal.
Mm-hmm. Or right after waking up.
Actually, yeah. But it's really fascinating because you get to see how these old, like I said, knives and cleavers and old machines, how they looked back in the day. Because they were able to restore them. And it's really interesting to see the process that goes into it. Sometimes there are parts that they can't save or can't salvage, so they have to go and basically make the part again. And that's really interesting to watch. Just kind of this process.
Do they make it through the same process that they did back in the day to?
I don't think so.
Like a wooden handle kind of a deal. But are they using
they do make wooden handles.
But they're using modern technology and stuff.
Modern technology, yeah.
Okay.
And I think a lot of the times back in the day, that kind of stuff would have been made on an assembly line or with specialized tools. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like the handles, they just cut out a piece of wood and then they basically just sand it down.
Right. Yeah.
So each one's going to be a little bit unique.
Mm-hmm. And so it's really interesting to watch just the process of and there's several people that do it, and some guys will actually, in order to harden the metal, they'll actually have old timey blacksmith kilns and stuff that they'll throw the pieces in and then
quench it in oil
and so I've watched so many of those videos recently, just over the last couple of days.
You gonna get into knife making and stuff now?
No. I'm not man enough to do that sort of stuff.
What?
Yeah.
Take a deer, some of their horns or something, and the antlers.
What?
Carve them out.
No.
Make a handle.
No.
I've restored some old axe heads and stuff, keeping them on their same handle and everything, just getting all the rust off and buffing it. Doing all that stuff, it's super easy. Do it with a
I'm sure it is.
Sheets of sandpaper.
I'm sure it is, but
that's what you can find at your new job. You could just find all these old knives and restore them.
They come, and there's a bunch of tool kits and stuff that come through. I could
Booyah.
I could build myself quite the workshop if I really wanted to.
Do it.
But I like watching people do it. I'm just not interested myself in doing it.
Well, what you got to do is you got to find something that interests you, like restoring old action figures.
Yep.
Is
Old
that what you were
toys.
leading into?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry, I stole that from you.
No, you're fine. You're fine. You knew where I was going with
One
it.
time he decides to speak back up.
I was
you know,
going to
silent.
comment on that photo, but I figured that's something that you were planning on doing anyways. It's restoring.
Yes, yeah, the action figures that I found
Because wasn't
working my job.
like your older brother Guy? He painted stuff, didn't he? Like
He does. He's kind of a jack of all trades. He does a lot of stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah, I found these old figures that I kind of rescued from the dump because. So let me get a little backstory. Where I work right now, and if you're in Utah or in Idaho, you know what this is. I work at the DI.
Mhm.
Basically, for anybody else listening, it's like the Salvation Army. So it's a lot of people bring their old stuff they don't want anymore, and then they resell it for
basically
super cheap.
It's a thrift store, but it has some class.
Yeah,
Aw, yeah.
and they're kind of they like to be very picky about the stuff that they take and don't take.
Mhm.
You would be surprised the stuff that gets thrown away.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Like mad surprised. Like
Yeah.
I can't believe they're throwing that away.
Yes.
Like a flat screen TV that's
Well-
like missing a button or something? Or
Well, here's where I'm at. So I'm working at basically what's called small as is items.
Okay.
So it's tools and toys and all that stuff, movies, video games, that sort of thing.
Oh, sweet.
And because it's the DI and because it's owned by the LDS Church, if a movie comes in that's rated R or a video game comes in that's rated MA or M, they chuck it.
Really?
Yeah. And so I'm like I don't want to throw these away.
Yeah.
But I didn't have really an opportunity at that time.
Braveheart collection.
to
See if
snag
you could
it,
work out a
collector's
deal with
edition.
like your supervisor or something. Be like, I'll take these, but then they'll be like, no, we don't want our employees watching that stuff either.
See, and that's the thing.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ah.
It's like I had to chuck a lot of just yesterday, like a bunch of Call of Duty games came in and they're mature. And I was like, I just had to throw them away. I'm like, I don't feel good about throwing this away, but my inner
give them to the Salvation Army.
my inner video game nerd was like, I
Nah,
can't in good conscience throw these away, but I don't have a choice.
Sacrilegious there, Troy.
I didn't have a choice. So what happened with these action
Being
figures?
like by gunpoint.
Yeah. What happened with these action figures was one of the guys on the line, and the people that work there aren't exactly. It's not the elite of the employment force. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
He got this big box of toys. I mean, just action figures, and so I was kind of out of the corner of my eyes, kind of looking at what he had. And he asked one of the guys there, like, well, what should I do with all these? Because, I mean, there were probably like hundreds.
Oh, geez. Okay.
And it'd be tough to sell them individually because we have so many.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think they bagged up a bunch and sold them as like this, just sold the bag. And then the rest, I heard the guy say, well, just chuck them. And so he took the box, put it in the bin, didn't dump it.
Yeah.
It's still in the box. And the bin was pretty full, so I was like, I'll take the trash out.
Yeah.
I volunteered. And so I grabbed it and I went around the corner to the compactor and I spent a few minutes rescuing a few toys.
You're basically
I couldn't save them all.
Describing them the opposite of Sid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm the anti-Sid from Toy Story.
Just doing the Lord's work.
That's why I'm trying. So I saved a few and I brought them home and I, got some warm water and some soap and I scrubbed them with a toothbrush.
Yeah.
Because who knows what the crap was on them. And a couple of them had some yellowing. So I was doing some research about how to lessen the yellow.
Oh,
Apparently use hydrogen peroxide.
Or Coke.
By the way. Coke would probably work.
All right.
Works on everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is white.
You throw them in some...
Oh, you guys are talking about Coca-Cola.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah. No, not coke. Put them in a thing of cocaine. The yellow will just
Then they
come
come
right
to
off.
life.
Yeah. Or you think they come to life. But yeah, you stick them in some hydrogen peroxide, leave them there for a couple of days in the sun, and the yellow will mellow.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I also got like a...
Oh my gosh. You should try putting it in some mellow yellow.
Oh.
Some, I got a Boba Fett Pez dispenser. A Boba Fett Pez dispenser that also was going to be thrown away, so I grabbed that. And
What?
so yeah, I'm gonna eventually. It looks like I'll start as long as I'm there. I'm probably gonna end up having this little collection of stuff.
Yeah.
Man, I love going to the DI and just looking at what they have. I don't ever buy anything, but I just like to look.
They have some good stuff.
Yeah.
That I've
Actually,
seen.
So I used to do this with an ex's dad. We'd go to the DI and we'd go to the records, and he would buy records and then he'd sell them on eBay. But I didn't like. I've never been into music. I don't know what's good, what's rare, or anything. He's
Yeah.
like, if you've never heard of it, just take it out and then show me later. Like if you've never heard of the band, because it's the ones that people rarely hear of that they like
Really
that
obscure
go
ones?
the obscure ones that go for a lot. So we used to do that all the time. And that was pretty neat.
Did you find like any of like the White Album or some of these like iconic ones?
I don't think so, but some of the ones that we sold went for well over $100, and they're what, 25 cents? I think they're 25 cents a record.
Yeah.
At the DI.
No, there. If you have a buyer and if you know what to look for, you could make a lot of money
Oh yeah.
buying stuff from the DI. I mean, there was this really awesome art kit that I found. It was in this really nice hardwood briefcase and stuff.
Like
$5.
Really?
$5.
Oh jeez.
I think I'm going to... Oh, wait, it's closed today. Dang it.
Yeah, it's close.
You're like, I might just stop by there.
I'll just go to Harbor Freight. That's like...
Yeah. But yeah, so that's what I'm doing right now.
There you go.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right. Oh, dang, I'm not prepared. Hang on. I gotta pull up my thing.
Please don't.
At the end of each episode, this is just took a weird turn.
This is what I'm gonna do now, guys. I'm just gonna pull out my thing. Okay. So here's where you can find all of our episodes. You can go to worldwarg.podbean.com. You can also find us on iTunes, Google Play, and cosmicpotato.com. On the social media, you can find us at facebook.com/worldwargpodcast. We're also on Twitter and Instagram at WWG Podcast. You can also find all of our merchandise, all of our t-shirts and mugs and all kinds of things, phone cases, at shop.spreadshirt.com/worldwarg. You can also email us anytime.
Day or night.
At worldwgpodcast@gmail.com. Also remember you can call or text the show just as Joel did at 385-240-1692. And he also did something else for us, which you're going to hear in just a second. So, this has been World War G episode 210. That has been AJ.
That has been Troy.
You've been the listener.
And that's Colton.
Stay geeky, my friends.